Since 1941, Jeep has been building Jeeps to go out and do Jeep things. The Toledo-built Wrangler earned a reputation of being a rugged off-roader that could go anywhere and do anything. But when it comes to sales, there's a much more important Jeep to the brand. That model is the Grand Cherokee. The popular family SUV delivers on everything a growing family could need out of a car, but also can fight the elements or even go off the beaten path. For 2022, the Grand Cherokee got a significant update, including the introduction of a 3-row version. New powertrains are on the menu too. These are aimed at giving Jeep the green-focused features it needs to remain a contender as gas prices soar and environmental restrictions tighten. One of those updates is its inclusion of the brand's 4xe lineup of plug-in hybrids. But can an environmentally friendly family hauler also cash the capability checks that the badge on the hood writes? We recently spent the day in the new Grand Cherokee 4xe around Austin, Texas to find out. In this video, we're going to highlight what makes a 4xe a 4xe. We'll also talk about the Grand Cherokee's fantastic new interior, contemporary exterior design, and its latest tech. We'll talk about what it's like to drive off and on-road. Then, we'll compare it to some other plug-in SUVs in the segment and render a final verdict. For those who are new to the Grand Cherokee, the 4xe model is a 2-row SUV that sits high up in the Jeep lineup. It's the most luxurious non-Wagoneer model and is available in all trim levels. What of the 3-row model we mentioned before? An electrified version isn't available yet. For those who want the ultimate luxury, there's the Summit version we spent most of our time in. If you are someone who envisions themselves going off-road on the regular, the hugely impressive Trailhawk model is the one to get. An Overland model splits the difference between those two, and there's also an entry-level Grand Cherokee 4xe, which still comes with tons of features on top of the plug-in capability. All 4xe models are powered by a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine mated to an electric motor which makes 375 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. For context, that's more performance than the Grand Cherokee equipped with the Hemi V8. An 8-speed automatic sends power to all 4 wheels and, depending on model, there's a low-range mode for the ultimate rock crawling. This 4xe variant is rated to drive up to 25 miles on pure electricity. There are several controls in the Grand Cherokee to preserve battery life or to force the SUV to drive entirely gas-free. Ideally, these options let you save electric-only driving for the city and use the gasoline engine on the highway. By default, the Grand Cherokee works in a normal hybrid mode, with the computer figuring out when to power the gasoline engine. The Grand Cherokee 4xe is rated at 56 mpge, which is efficient for a larger SUV. Interestingly, the mpge rating is more efficient than the battery-only GMC Hummer EV, which claims 47 mpge. Speaking of the Hummer, we just spent some time driving it. Be sure to check out the rest of the EV Pulse YouTube channel for more first drive reviews like the Hummer and this Grand Cherokee. We'll soon be driving the F-150 Lightning, so ring that notification bell and you won't miss that video the moment it goes live. On the outside, the Grand Cherokee looks smart and expensive. There's a trademark 7-slot grille up front, flanked by 2 narrow LED headlights. Wheels can get as large as 21 inches on the Grand Cherokee. All 4xe models have blue accented badges, and the Trailhawk has blue tow hooks front and rear. New to the charging door on the Grand Cherokee is a 4xe badge, which doesn't appear on the door of the Wrangler. We wanted to spend most of our time in the Summit model because it has the most tech and the most features. Inside, the Grand Cherokee is more Range Rover than the folks in England would likely care to admit. There's real wood trim, there are plush leather seats that massage. The metal you see is, get this, really metal. Then there's the presentation of the Macintosh audio system. Jeep uses Macintosh's Gothic font for the branding, which lights up on the door panels. The infotainment, which we'll get more into later, even has a Macintosh display with the brand's trademark blue lighting and amplifier needles. And speaking of Macintosh, it's our favorite thing by far about the new Jeep Grand Cherokee. There's only one version available in this vehicle. If you want the high-end reference version, you'll have to shell out for the Grand Wagoneer. But the Macintosh system in this Grand Cherokee still sounds incredible. It's the best factory audio system on the market, regardless of price. Our interior was the premium Tupelo option. Named after the famous Tupelo honey, it's a nice shade of tan with a hint of honey color. It washes the interior with warm hues. It's popular amongst most of the people that see it, though if Tupelo isn't your thing, there's also a black and gray interior available. The 4xe is brimming with technology too. Uconnect 5 is the new infotainment on board, and it supports wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It also has built-in mapping, special controls for the hybrid system, and hybrid-specific displays. It also sports a set of off-road displays exclusive to the Trailhawk model. A full digital instrument cluster can show you all the important vehicle vitals. This includes a full-screen map, so your next turn is right in front of you. Plus, if your Grand Cherokee is equipped with night vision, like our test model is, you can see what the system sees right on the instrument cluster. The Summit version also has a heads-up display. Standard on all 4xe models is the passenger display. This is a new concept to most vehicles. The Porsche Taycan has it available, but not many other cars, and it allows the passenger to control parts of the infotainment that might be locked out to the driver. The screen sits in front of the passenger and appears blacked out from the driver's seat vantage point. The passenger can set navigation directions, view the parking cameras, or even watch a movie. They can also control the rear seat infotainment with built-in Amazon Fire TV support. Just a quick note about the Fire TV. Even though our test Jeep didn't have it, when the rear infotainment is equipped, each passenger can watch their own show on Fire TV. That means one passenger can watch Netflix while the other is watching a show on Hulu, Prime, or any number of services. A built-in modem facilitates the connection. While ultimately the Grand Cherokee owner is going to spend most of the time driving on pavement, with occasional snow being the major hindrance, the Grand Cherokee does have a Jeep badge on it, so it comes with some expectation. So, the Grand Cherokee says Jeep, but does it actually, Jeep? We hit up a difficult rock climbing trail in a Trailhawk 4xe to find out. Like its Wrangler cousin, the Grand Cherokee doesn't have a traditional torque converter. To make a long story short, there's a direct connection between how much throttle input you give and how much power is actually sent to the wheels. That means you have incredible control over what the Grand Cherokee is doing. With an ELSD in the rear, 4 low, a front sway bar disconnect, and air suspension, the Grand Cherokee is one of the most capable SUVs we've driven off-road, regardless of brand. Add in the fact that this 4xe does it in complete, electrically driven silence. That makes it easier to hear the spotter yelling at you, and the experience of convening with nature all the better. The off-road functions of Uconnect 5 will show you things like which differentials are locked, the status of the sway bar, the steering angle, and tire pressure. There are special off-road gauges that display the transmission and differential temperatures. Plus, you can summon one of the many off-road cameras to line up your path. And because you'll be getting muddy, the front camera also includes a washing system on the Trailhawk. It's difficult to make off-roading look extreme on video, but trust us when we say this was a serious course. Nobody who buys a Grand Cherokee will attempt what we did on this ranch in Texas. But the fact is, they could. So yes, it does say Jeep, and it does, in fact, Jeep. If you're ready to go green with a capable family hauler, Jeep has a unique offering here. There aren't many plug-in hybrid SUVs on the market right now. So we're going to compare some key metrics of the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe to the Toyota RAV4 Prime and the Range Rover Sport P400e. The RAV4 Prime makes 300 combined horsepower from its 2.5-liter four-cylinder and electric motors. Meanwhile, the Range Rover plug-in uses its turbocharged 2-liter engine and electric motors to produce 400 horses. Jeep's offering, as we mentioned before, makes a combined 375 horsepower. Toyota doesn't list torque figures for its plug-in, but the Range Rover Sport makes 472 pound-feet of twist. And while the Range Rover wins in horsepower, the Grand Cherokee's 470 pound-feet of torque make it a virtual dead heat. Distance on all-electric mode is important, because if you have enough miles for your day-to-day travels, you won't use fuel unless it's for longer trips. The RAV4 Prime is rated to go up to 42 miles on all-electric power, which is a ton of real-world range. The P400e is rated for only 19 miles on electrons. That's low for a plug-in hybrid. Jeep splits the difference with the Grand Cherokee, coming in at 25 miles of range. We'd imagine that should be enough for most people, especially if there's a charging option at work. Finally, there's price. And hey, we already know how it's going to go, but it's worth pointing out. The Toyota RAV4 Prime has a starting MSRP of $40,000 with the destination fee. Unsurprisingly, Range Rover will take a toll on your pocketbook with a starting price of $84,350. The Grand Cherokee 4xe starts just shy of $60,000. All these vehicles, for the time being, should be eligible for up to $7,500 in federal tax incentives. Thanks to the supply chain issues plaguing the automotive market, we've seen RAV4 Prime models priced up to $90,000. So, if you're looking for any of these PHEVs, it might be worth shopping around. Overall, we like the Grand Cherokee a lot. Some of the pros are the luxury fit and finish. We're also big fans of the infotainment system and connected technology. Finally, the Macintosh audio is the best in the business, and if you feed it a quality audio source like a master track from Tidal, it sounds incredible. Disappointments are few and far between. The gloss black surround near the drive controls will scratch and get dusty easily, which is a shame. Also, at least for now, the 4xe powertrain is only available on the 2-row Grand Cherokee. There's no word yet on whether the 3-row Grand Cherokee L will get the same option. The Grand Cherokee is an impressive SUV that'll do things no owner would ever think of doing. It's a step up from the last generation, and the plug-in hybrid powertrain is the one to get. It's more luxurious than a mainstream competitor like the RAV4 Prime, and it delivers all the performance and luxury of the much more expensive Range Rover Sport P400e. You should definitely check it out. For more information on the Grand Cherokee 4xe, other Jeep plug-in models, and the rest of our new electrified world, visit evpulse.com. Thanks for watching.